Hey folks, I'm Karyssa.
And I'm Nikki.
And welcome to New Strangeland. Humans, welcome back to another episode of New Strangeland.
I'm Nikki.
And I'm Karyssa.
Oh, humans.
Humans.
Actually, that's quite appropriate for this week's episode.
That's what I thought. Today's episode,
Ooh.
we're talking about Today's episode, we're talking about Barney and Betty Hill.
Yeah.
Take it away.
So, Barney and Betty Hill. It's the first claims of alien abduction in United States were made by them.
Whoa.
We're not alone.
We're not.
No.
Not according to, recent times, apparently. They came out with some alien information.
Oh, girl.
Anyways, that's another story.
Yeah, I want to believe. Anyways, so Barney Hill, he was born in 1922. He was a postal worker, civil rights activist, and veteran. And he married to Betty, and her Betty Barrett. Hold on. Her name was Eunice Elizabeth Barrett, but everyone called her Betty. She was a social worker and civil rights activist. They lived together in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. They were a pretty cool power couple. They were biracial, which was for the time in the 60s, in the early 60s, that, you didn't see that a lot.
No, definitely not.
And yeah, they had really crazy work schedules because Barney was a postal worker and he worked third shift.
Ooh.
Yeah, and Betty was a social worker and she only took on really rough cases, so she worked a lot of long hours.
Right.
And the first year or two of their marriage, they literally just got married, never had a honeymoon or anything. So they kind of missed out on that, and they were bummed about that. And one weekend, they were like, hey, they both got out, it's a Friday. They're just like, hey, we just got paid. They didn't even stop to the bank, though, to get more money. But they're like, oh, we're going to take a trip to Niagara Falls in Montreal for the weekend.
Sounds nice.
Right?
Yeah.
So they packed up their stuff, hopped in their car, made the drive. I'm assuming they had a lovely weekend, out of all the things that I read pertaining to, what happened to them. No one said, hey guys, how was your lovely weekend getaway?
No one?
No one. Wow. And I'm just like, dude, I would like to think that their weekend getaway was just marvelous.
Yeah. And
they had a great time.
I would hope so.
So, anyways, on their way back, they drove back September 19th, 1961. And they stopped in Vermont for some coffee. It's 10 o'clock at night, and they're just yeah, let's get some more coffee. And Barney was like, yeah, at the rate we're going, we could be back home in Portsmouth by 2 or 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm
so they need some coffee to,
to
amp
themselves up,
themselves up.
So they leave the diner, and This starts the curious and startling incident that would become the first widely publicized alien abduction account in U.S. history.
U.S. history.
Yep. So, they're driving home, and as they drove, they saw this weird light appear in the sky. And Barney being a World War II vet, and he was also an avid plane watcher. He said it was probably just a satellite that went off course. Or he just tried to... He's very pragmatic and logical, so he was just trying to find the most reasonable thing that, this weird light could be.
Right.
But this light was following them, literally speeding up and slowing down when they were.
Interesting.
And Barney finally pulled over, and Betty had binoculars, and she looked at the object and saw it was spinning in the air. And she turns to Barney and literally says, "Barney, if you think that's a satellite or star, you're being ridiculous."
Huh.
Yeah. And Barney was just kind of like, well, what the fuck is that? So, at this point, they're 70 miles far from the diner when they pull over.
Yeah.
And it's in Lincoln, New Hampshire.
Okay.
So, yeah, he, like, grabbed his handgun and put it in his pocket and grabbed the binoculars, and he walked over into a nearby field, and when he got a closer look, he saw an object as big as a jet, round and flat as a pancake.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and that's not all. It also had windows along the side, and behind the windows, he saw gray uniformed beings, and they were looking out at him. Yeah. So, obviously, he was kind of freaking out. Right. I would be too.
Yeah.
Fuck that shit. And, so yelling, he, like, hauled ass back to the car, yelling at his wife, being like, "Get in the car." And they got back in the car, and they started to drive, and they heard these, like, inexplicable beeps coming from their trunk.
Weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
And their like, car just kind of slowed down, and both of them felt super drowsy, and they lost consciousness.
Ah.
Yeah. They woke up 2 hours later and 35 miles down the road.
So strange.
Yeah. Like, I literally just kind of got goosebumps just saying that. Like, can you imagine just, like, passing out for no goddamn reason?
Right?
And then just waking up miles away from your starting point and hours away.
I'd be like, obviously, how did I get here? Clearly, I wasn't
How
driving.
did I get here? How's the days gone by? So, yeah. This is yep, that's kind of like their first account. So, the aftermath of this, as they're driving, they tried to remember what happened to them, but every time they tried to remember, they got, like, inexplicably nauseous. Or, like, it just, like, they felt really gross.
Right.
And, like, so it made them stop trying to remember what happened.
So weird.
And when they got home, they noticed that their watches stopped working. Betty's dress was torn, and Barney's shoes were scuffed. And then they also felt really weird impulses for, like, an hour or two. Like, Betty wanted to take her suitcase and leave it by the back door instead of taking it upstairs and unpacking like a normal person would.
Right.
She felt like it needed to be over there.
That's weird.
Yeah. And Barney, he, like, got this, like, urge that he needed to run to the bathroom to make sure his genitalia was still attached to him.
Genitalia.
Yeah, his pee-pee was still where it was supposed to be. He was just like, "Oh my god, is he there? Okay, good." Like,
damn.
Yeah, and they both ended up taking showers because they just felt like
icky.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I read one thing, and it said that when Betty took off her dress, like, this weird powder, like, poofed off of it.
So strange. That's so weird.
Yeah. So, this is now September 21st. And Betty called Pease Air Force Base, which is located in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Mm-hmm. And she spoke with Major Paul W. Henderson. And he came and he interviewed them. And he wrote that, like, his official report was that they misidentified Jupiter.
Like, yes, clearly.
Jupiter was following me.
Yep. I knew it.
You know, Jupiter's in my 4th house, son. Like, it's actually in the trunk of my car. Like,
It's beeping at me.
yes. But despite him writing that, he forwarded it to Project Blue Book. And Project Blue Book was established in 1952. It's the study of UFOs by the Air Force. And they had 2 goals. One was to determine if UFOs were a threat to national security. And 2 was to scientifically analyze UFO-related data.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, over the next 5 days, Betty had... hold on. 10 days after the incident, Betty began to have these crazy-ass dreams. And they continued for 5 nights in a row. And she could not stop thinking about them. And she told Barney about them, and Barney's like, oh, that sucks. You're having weird-ass dreams. But he kind of, like, didn't think anything of it.
Yeah.
Like, Barney was, like, so, like, pragmatic and logical that, like, I feel like he took this whole incident and kind of just, like, stuffed it down and compartmentalized it, you know? Like, just being like, nothing happened, everything's fine.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
She couldn't stop thinking about her dreams, and she wrote them down in November. And in one dream, Betty and Barney encountered a roadblock, and men surrounded the car. She lost consciousness and was struggling to regain it, and realized that she was being forced by 2 small men to go into the forest, and Barney was behind her. She tried to call out to him, but he was in, like, a sort of trance.
Huh.
Like, he was, like, sleepwalking or something. And I'm like, oh, my God, that does, like, sound like a horrifying dream. Like, you know, like, those dreams that, like, you're, like, trying to run and you're just, like, slowing
you're just trying
down.
to talk. And, like,
And it's just, like, I don't know. That's all I could think of. So she described the quote-unquote men, because she just referred to them as men, so that's just how I'm going to continue to refer to these beings as.
Right.
As about 5'4", they were all in matching blue uniforms and caps, like military cadet kind of caps.
Interesting.
Yeah. And they looked almost human. They had dark hair, dark eyes, prominent noses, but their skin and lips were, like, a grayish color. So I'm kind of, like, picturing, like, cadaver people, like, short cadaver guys.
Like, just short, dead-looking guys?
Yeah. Zombie aliens.
That's what I was thinking, like, zombies. I'm like,
oh my God, that sounds like the worst, like, B-rated horror movie ever.
Zombie aliens
from outer space. They want to eat your brains and probe your butts.
That's probably a movie already made.
I know. And you know what? Shut up and take my money. I'll watch it. Oh my God. So Betty and Barney and the humanoid men, they walked up a ramp into their craft. And despite her protests, Betty and Barney were separated. One of them, like, stood out as the leader, and so that's what she kind of dubbed him in her brain. The leader assured her that if they were examined together, that the whole process would take longer than needed. And then after that, they went into their separate rooms.
Huh.
So these alien men things are going to examine them.
Sounds great.
I don't even
These
like
alien
going
zombie
to get,
men.
like, a pap smear. Like,
I don't even just like going to the doctor. Like...
Dude, you don't need to take my blood pressure. I'm fine. And then there's, like, another dream that they took Betty to a new room where the leader was accompanied by another one of these humanoid things, who she dubbed the Examiner. Yeah, I don't know. That seems like, like, I don't know why. That, like, makes me think of, like, Hostel movies or something, you know, like, or, like,
the Examiner.
Like, just, like, some torturous doctor.
Ooh,
like,
yeah. I don't like it.
But apparently, quote-unquote, the Examiner, surprisingly had a pleasant and calm manner.
They always do.
So he explained that he wanted to conduct a few tests to see the difference between them and Betty and Barney. He had her sit in a chair with a bright light on her, and like, I don't know, I can just picture like when you see on movies like being interrogated.
Yeah.
Like that's what I envision in my head.
Yeah.
He then took samples of her hair, nails, and skin. He examined her ears and eyes and mouth and like checked out her teeth and stuff. Counted them up. And he also checked out her hands, legs, and feet. He tested her nervous system, and then he also stuck a needle in her belly button, which caused her a great deal of pain. But then the leader dude just waved his hand in front of her eyes, and the pain just vanished like that.
Dang.
Just like automatically vanished.
Give me some of that.
Right?
When I go get tattooed or something.
Yeah, just bing.
Yeah.
It's like some Jedi mind trick shit.
Right?
Yeah, you will not feel pain. So then the examiner leaves, and Betty and the leader have a conversation, and she finds a book laying around, and the leader said that she could have it. And she asked where he came from, and he shows her on a map of stars, which is interesting. And then in Betty's dream, the men escorted Betty and Barney from the ship, and the leader said she couldn't have the book anymore because they didn't want them to remember what happened to them. And Betty and Barney were taken to their car. They watched the craft depart and started driving. And so this was like all in a series of her dreams.
Okay, so it's just isn't just one, but it's just like.
Yeah.
Okay.
It like it didn't really decipher like which dream was in what. Right. So this was like the gist of everything put together.
Gotcha.
So yeah, those are some wild ass dreams, and if I had those too, I would be like, yo, husband, I think we definitely got like abducted by aliens.
Yeah, because that's like pretty vivid to have as a dream.
Yeah, and to have it like a series of dreams, like, okay, like maybe if you had like a one night kind of dream like that, like it's whatever, but like to continually have them throughout a week. And
to have it after this incident.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence.
No, it's not.
No.
So, Betty also reached out to NICAP, which is the National Investigation Committee on Aerial Phenomenon. And she reached out to them with details of what happened. And on October 21st, 1961, Boston astronomer... on October 21st, 1961, a Boston astronomer and NICAP member Walter Webb interviewed them for 6 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. And then a month later, in November, 2 more NICAP members interviewed them and suggested hypnosis as a way to remember what happened. Barney was very skeptical of hypnosis because, going back again, he's super pragmatic, logical kind of dude. And he's just like no frills kind of guy. Yeah. And after this, for like the next 2 years, for over half of that 2 years, they spent trying to find the location where they could have been picked up because they weren't quite sure where it happened. And they finally pinpointed it. And if you go down, I believe it's Route 3 in Lincoln, there is like a sign there. And it says, this is the spot where Betty and Barney were abducted.
They were abducted.
Aqueduct.
They were adopted.
They were abducted. I can't say abducted. They were abducted. So, which is really cool, and I kind of want to drive past that. So, me too. Yeah, I mean, like, the only time I've ever really been to Lincoln is to go to ice castles.
I haven't even been to those.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know if they had them this past year.
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, they did. I saw some advertisements, but they started them late because we kind of had a warmer winter. Yeah. Ice castles are this really cool thing in Lincoln, New Hampshire, where literally they make a huge castle maze out of ice.
It's made of ice.
Yeah. It's a super chill place. No, but actually it's really cool. Definitely visit. They usually open in like January and stay open till like March. It depends on the weather. It depends how cold it is, because it's ice. It's blocks of ice. It gotta be cold out.
It's gotta be cold.
Yeah. So when like around the time that they do find the location, they're huge churchgoers and like very involved in their congregation and stuff. So they start opening up to those close to them about what happened to them. And they did meet psychologists that did hypnosis, and they told them that they were thinking about doing it finally. Like, Barney kind of came around to the idea.
Yeah.
And the guy, he, for whatever reason, I can't remember exactly why, but he wasn't comfortable doing it for them. So he referred them to someone else. And this guy's name's Benjamin Simon.
Benjamin Simon.
And Benjamin Simon, he started hypnotizing them in January of 1964. And they had, like, startling, like, similar stories.
Right.
It's weird. But, so Barney's session, like, Simon interviews them, or not interviews them, but hypnotizes them separately. So he does Barney's first. Barney's recollection was full of emotion. He often expressed fear and, like, general outbursts and what the fuck, like, how could this be happening to me? Due to his crippling fear, he kept his eyes closed for much of the abduction and examination. Under hypnosis, Barney recounted that the leader told him to close his eyes, and he, quote, felt like the eyes had pushed into his eyes. Like,
he felt like the leader's eyes?
The leader's eyes, like, pushed into his eyes.
That's weird. That's creepy.
Right? Like, I don't know. I just, like, picture, like, smashing my forehead against your forehead.
Right? But then, like my eyes just like, push into yours.
Yeah, like like, in the cartoons when, like, they see, like, a hot girl or something and their eyes are, like, yes. Like, oh, my God.
Like, or, like, Mr. Crab eyes.
Yes. Oh, my God. But I'm like, ooh, I don't know. I don't like that because, like, I don't really like eye things. Like, eye things creep me out. Like, I forgot what Final Destination is, but that whole, like, laser eye scene, do you know what I'm talking about? Because
I don't think I saw that part.
Oh.
I don't like those movies.
Oh, my God. Those movies, like, are, like, they're train wrecks. Like, I have to watch.
Yes.
Like, I can't.
Agreed, but I just...
But I won't put it on my own accord. No. But if it's on, I'm like, oh my god. And then you can never drive behind a logging truck again.
Nope. Or tanning.
Yep. Oh, God. No, thank you.
Tanning
bed.
Nope. Don't even want to go on a roller coaster. But I go on them. So, in Barney's exam, this is what he recalls under hypnosis. Like, a cup-like device was put over his genitals, and he didn't, like, feel an orgasm or anything, but he said it was definitely used to collect sperm. That's an interesting picture in my mind.
Oh. They milked him. They milked that poor man.
God.
Oh, no. So, and then they did a skin scraping, and they examined his mouth and ears. A thin tube was inserted in his anus and then quickly pulled out. Tube anus. Anus tube.
Oh, anal tube.
Anal tube. And someone being one of the humanoids was even, like, standing behind him and counting his vertebrae.
Weird.
Yeah. And
just a light massage.
Right? This is just a massage just to loosen you up before we shove the anal tube in you. Just gonna count them vertebrae, Barnes. Sit on back. Oh my god. Yeah. And so Barney believed them to be telepathic because he could understand them, but he noticed that their mouths never moved.
Interesting.
And, like, he could hear them mumble some other weird language.
Yeah.
But then when they would look at him, like, he heard them speaking English.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
And he didn't use the word telepathic because he didn't know that word, apparently. Obviously, this is probably a time, the early 60s, like, telepathy and stuff was, like, a new age kind of thing, you know? Right. So, but yeah, basically they were telepathic aliens. And, so Betty's session, it was basically her dreams.
Weird.
Yeah. There were notable differences between her dreams and her hypnosis sessions.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is, these differences check out with Barney's story.
Oh.
Yeah. So
weird.
Yeah. So they check out with Barney's story. And the differences are, like, weird things. Like, it's, like, the technology that they used, what happened upon their capture and their release, and how the beings looked. So Benjamin Simon, the psychologist or psychiatrist that hypnotized them, also gave Betty a post-hypnotic suggestion of drawing the star map. You know, the star map that the leader showed her?
Right.
And the star map that she drew consisted of 12 stars, and some of them were connected by lines, solid lines, and some of them were connected by dotted lines.
Okay.
And the solid line connections, those were trade routes, apparently. And the dotted ones were, like, routes less taken.
Huh.
Yeah. And so Benjamin Simon's, his conclusion... Simon felt that Barney's sessions were inspired by Betty's dreams, but at this point Barney is like, hell no, this fucking happened to me.
Right.
This absolutely happened to me. And I find this kind of definitely plausible because if it was inspired just by her dreams, then these noticeable differences that Betty had in her hypnosis session... Barney wouldn't have those same differences,
right.
You know?
Yeah, no.
That part wouldn't check out.
Right.
And it's not like she remembered these differences of her own accord. She had to be hypnotized to remember
so she didn't
this.
Tell him those parts because they weren't in her dream.
Yeah, they weren't in her dream. She didn't remember them.
Yeah.
So he could only, like, really, like, recount or, like, even if he used her dreams as a basis, it would only be what happened in her dreams.
Right.
So, yeah. I don't know, Benjamin Simon, you know, I think you're wrong. Think you're wrong. So, after the hypnosis sessions, which actually these went for about 6 months to get all of this out. Betty and Barney, they never really looked for publicity. But in October of 1965, they made front page news in the Boston Traveler. A reporter by the name of John H. Luttrell allegedly was given a tape recording of the Hills lecturing at Quincy Center because they got hooked up with those NICAP people that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
The NICAP people were super interested in their story, so sometimes they'd invite them to come down and talk to other NICAP members.
Yeah.
And, like, be like, oh, like, tell us what you guys can remember.
Right.
So apparently this journalist or reporter, Luttrell, he got a recording of one of those sessions. And he found out about them going under hypnosis, and he also obtained notes from confidential interviews that they had given the UFO investigators. So, yeah. the next day, United Press International picked up Luttrell's story of the Hills, and they earned international attention.
Wow.
Yeah. In 1966, John G. Fuller, with cooperation with the Hills and Benjamin Simon, he wrote a book called The Interrupted Journey, and it was a very successful, and it was about what happened to them, their hypnosis sessions, and I definitely kind of want to go grab that and pick it up.
Yeah.
Because it sounds pretty cool. Unfortunately, in 1969, Barney passed away from a cerebral hemorrhage, and Betty, she never remarried. She claimed she saw more UFOs, and she was a celebrity in the UFO community, and she died at the ripe old age of 85.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's basically the gist of Betty and Barney Hill.
Betty and Barney Hill.
And there's a lot more to it for sure. If we could do a deeper dive into this, if anyone was interested.
It's crazy because, like, it's weird when, like, especially the experiences that they talk about. And it's funny because, obviously, like, you said this was, like, one of the first or the first?
The first.
And it's funny because I feel like that's your stereotypical alien, kind of. Like, maybe, obviously, they've changed a little bit. The head's a little bit, like, bigger. You know, maybe they've changed the body. It's not so human-like. But generally, it's dark eyes, gray skin, blue bodysuit.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, because that was their aliens.
Yep.
That's just so weird.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's wild. And I don't know. It certainly makes you wonder if it truly actually happened to them. And I would really like to think it did, like, from the bottom of my heart. But
I 100% believe. I don't know.
I mean, like, part of me, though, you know, I have to have that little speculative doubt in me, that little kernel, just to be like, I don't know, man. But I think, like, they together have far too much evidence.
Well, yeah, and I feel like, I mean,
if
I don't
only
know.
she got to keep that book. If she got to keep that book.
Right? I was kind of hoping that you was going to say that she got to keep the book.
I know. Oh my god. If she kept that book, then hell fucking yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone would believe them.
Yeah. Or, I don't know. I mean, I am a believer of aliens. Because I just don't believe that we're the only human-like beings in the universe, in the whole wide space.
Absolutely agree.
You know?
I think it's pretty goddamn self-centered to think that we are, like, the only creatures in the universe that are can, you know, be used tools.
That can be used tools.
Be used tools. Clearly not me. But
no, like, I don't know. I am definitely, like, I don't know. I could talk on and on about aliens.
Oh, I love it. Well, you know, it's a good thing that New Hampshire and Maine are, like, some of, like, the highest places where UFOs are spotted.
Right?
Because we can definitely do a couple more of these.
I'm down for so many more UFO episodes.
Hell yeah. Oh, my God. But, yeah, I'm really sad that Barney died, and he passed away from a cerebral hemorrhage, and part of me wonders, like, do you think that it could have been a result?
I think so.
Of what they went through?
Right. But it's funny, I mean, she obviously lived for a long time.
Yeah.
And who knows, I guess, like, health, what was going on exactly, if she had anything going on.
Yeah.
But maybe they did something different to him.
Yeah. Well, because he doesn't recall being poked in the damn belly button with that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I just hate when someone, like, digs their finger into my belly button.
I just don't like belly buttons. Like, don't, like, no.
Oh, that made me, like, queasy.
That's, like, my fear, and I will never get a belly button piercing.
Oh my god.
Because for some reason, I just feel like the piercer, I don't know why I have this thought, because obviously they're not going to, but they're just going to shove the needle in my belly button.
Oh my god.
Don't know why. It's a really irrational fear.
Dude, that's wild. Can I tell you a gross belly button thing?
I don't know.
Okay,
I
so
guess.
I had my belly button pierced. I got it done when I was like 18 because I was just like, hey, I'm going to get my belly button pierced. And I worked in a nursing home kitchen, and the stainless steel tables like had this lip to them, and with my height, I am that level, and I leaned forward and the top part of my belly button piercing got caught underneath the lip, and so when I leaned back it was like and oh my god, I literally doubled over in pain.
Did it come out?
No, it didn't come out, but it fucking
I thought you were gonna say that it like fucking
ripped out. My flesh ripped. Oh my god, no, it wasn't that bad, but it still hurt so bad, like literally tears sprung in my eyes.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't like it. And then I just eventually, I took out my belly button piercing like 2 weeks later because it was stupid.
It was stupid.
I didn't like it. No, I mean, if you have your belly button pierced you enjoy it, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't like it. I just got it caught on everything. And I don't know. I heard they took forever to heal, and I'm just a very impatient person, so can't deal with that.
Have you had any alien or UFO?
You know, I think I have.
Oh.
Yes, true story. Absolute true story. So this probably happened to me about 10 years ago. I went to the beach at nighttime with a friend, and we were like laying on the sand, just like chain smoking butts, staring up at the sky, chit chatting, you know. And it was probably like midnight. So it was pretty dark.
Yeah.
And we were looking straight up in the sky, and I remember seeing the way we were laying, like we could see like the Big Dipper, and then like off to the left of the Big Dipper we saw this like pulsing light, and I was just like, oh, it's probably like a satellite or something.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't moving, it was just staying, so I'm like, oh, that's not a plane. But then it just started jumping across the sky, like legit, just like poo, like went and like jumped right, jumped left, jumped up. Oh my god, it was so crazy. And we're both looking at this thing, and we're like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? And we're like, yeah. And we could, like, our eyes are glued onto it. And then a goddamn seagull flew over the head of us, like, so close to our faces, and scared the shit out of us. And then we lost sight of it.
Oh.
Because of stupid seagull.
Stupid seagull.
But yeah, I'm kind of determined that was definitely some unidentified flying object, because that didn't really follow the protocol of planes or trains or automobiles.
No, I don't think so. The only thing I could think of is like a drone, but
no, like this was so far up in the sky.
Yeah.
And like the distance it was moving.
Right.
So quickly.
Yeah.
Like it was like almost like teleportation kind of like speed.
Right.
It was like zing, 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 zing.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Oh my god, it was what? How about you? Have you ever seen anything freaky deaky like that?
I don't remember anything weird really happening. Nothing. I feel like that was UFO or alien encounter.
Oh.
I know, it's really sad.
I remember, like, because you know, in the wintertime in New England, the sky's super clear because it's really cold out.
Mm-hmm.
So on nights when the sky would be really nice, my dad would give me his binoculars, and I'd go out on the porch and stare at the sky and be like, Dad, I'm gonna find some aliens tonight. I'm gonna find some aliens. How did I have friends? I don't know. But I'm like, aliens. And my dad's like, have at it. Take the binoculars, Nikki. Hope you find one.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Don't really got anything for aliens, which is kind of a bummer.
And, like, if you did see something like that, would your, like, mind immediately jump to aliens, or would you try to rationalize it being like, oh, could this be a satellite? Oh,
right.
Could this be...
And, I mean, like, who knows? you could see something and they could erase your memory.
Yeah. Oh my God. My mind went to Men in Black with the little pen thing.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and especially because, like with Betty and Barney, they put them to sleep apparently. And so there's no doubt in my mind that they could just erase your memory.
Well, they definitely had some mind powers because they put them to sleep. They made them forget.
Yeah.
And also with the whole pain go away thing that they did to Betty.
Yeah.
Like being like, no pain.
No pain for you.
No pain. We're just waving our hands in front of each other's faces, by the way. Just saying, no pain. Oh my God. But yeah. I don't know, man. It's pretty crazy because, like, when I think of aliens and stuff like this, like, my go-to, like, place in the United States would be, like, Roswell.
Right.
Or, Area 51.
Right.
And I don't really think New England too much, but this is legit, like, the first, like, publicized story of someone's, like, being abducted in the United States.
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit, that's New Hampshire.
Right.
And it's crazy, too, because I guess, like, around Pease Air Force Base, like, pilots that work there and stuff, that they've seen a lot of shit. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I guess there's something about this area.
Yeah. And I feel like, too, it's a little similar detail to a story we're gonna, an episode that we're gonna do later on, where the incident of, like, them falling asleep and then waking up in a different location, like, ties in, like, similar to, like, the story of, it was on Unsolved Mysteries with a bunch of people who saw the UFO.
Oh, the Berkshires.
Yes.
Okay.
The Berkshires. So similar story, similar sort of situation to one of the stories in the Berkshire UFO sightings.
Yes. Yeah. There's another one that we're going to look into, too, that happened in Maine, and I can't wait to look into that because I want to see if there's any similarities from all three of these.
Right.
And I'm sure that there's other stories that from the region for sure.
Yep.
So,
maybe they're the same aliens.
I don't know. Oh my God, that would be so cool. And they just, like, this is like their vacation spot.
They walk among us.
Ooh. Oh, also, fun fact, all of the information about Betty and Barney, like all of their interviews, everything, is at the public domain at UNH Library.
Oh.
UNH is the University of New Hampshire. It's over in Durham, New Hampshire, and it's like our biggest state school. It's pretty cool. But yeah, you can, like, we could go to the library there and just be like, hey, can we see everything on Betty and Barney? And they will bring you out a fuck ton of stuff.
Ooh,
yeah, like
cool.
pictures and, like, recordings, like, everything. Like, they have so much shit. I was perusing their lexicon of it, if you will, and I was just like, oh my God, like, there was more stuff than I thought I could even imagine to find. But you have to physically go there, and obviously in these days of our quarantine time that wasn't really that possible.
Yeah, unfortunately. But
so,
someday
maybe we'll take a look-see.
We'll peruse.
I mean, we could just always drive up to Lincoln, though. That's something we can do.
We can do that.
We take a picture and be like, hello, what's up? Bet barn. Yes. Another thing too that was interesting. So you know how I said, like, the psychiatrist, he was just like, yeah, no, it's based off of, like, their dreams and stuff.
Yeah.
He went on to, like, write a paper about it. I forgot what psychiatry journal it went into, but he said that they had, like, these stressors in their lives because they were an interracial couple during the civil rights movement. That could have attributed to, like, these mental stresses that made them make up this wild story.
Yes, totally. 100%. No.
Yeah.
Like,
come
on.
But, like, that was his, like, reasoning.
Of course
and
it
I'm
was.
like, yeah. And, like,
in a way, I'm like, yeah, that. But, like, Betty was like, no, dude, we have such a happy marriage, and, like, we live in Portsmouth, and I don't know, everything's pretty good. Like, we don't really have that hard of a time. Like,
yeah, like
we're fine. So
we're so stressed. Let's make up this alien story.
Yeah. Like, subconsciously, not like them, like, being like, oh, we're gonna make up an alien story, but it's just, like, the suppressors of, like, whatever anxieties they have of being an interracial couple. But I don't know, it doesn't seem like that
sounds pretty far-fetched.
I've listened to them in interviews and seen pictures of them together, and they're just like so like natural and comfortable, and they look so in love. And holy shit, you know what else ties into this a little bit? Season 2 of American Horror Story.
Which one is
the Asylum one?
Yeah, I didn't watch that one. I need to. But you can say it anyways. I don't care if it's spoilers.
What's the guy that everyone likes there? Peter
Evan Peters?
Evan Peters. Yeah. Peter Evans. No, Evan Peters' character, like, he's in the asylum, and he's put there because he was married to a black woman.
Okay.
And they were abducted by aliens.
Oh.
So that is total a play off of Betty and Barney, I think, in my head. That, like, when I was reading that, that popped into my brain, and I'm just like, yo, yeah, they kind of, like, base this off of that, for sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So.
Yeah, I need to watch that one. I don't know why I haven't seen that
That is so weird, because I feel like you've seen, like, every other season.
Yeah, I haven't seen, like, more recent seasons, but I don't know why I skipped that one.
Yeah, no, that one's a really good one.
I don't know.
Like, I think, like, the first 3 seasons are really good. And then after that, they kind of peter off for me.
Murder House, Asylum.
Yep, and Coven.
Okay, yeah. So, I don't know why because I've seen Murder House and I've seen Coven, but I skipped Asylum. I don't know. Don't come for me. It's fine.
Coming for you.
I'll watch it.
I'm coming for you like an alien. I'm gonna probe you with the alien anal tube. Poke your belly button.
No.
No, please. But yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else?
No, I think that's all we got.
All right. Awesome possum. So thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
Please go ahead and follow us on social media like Instagram and Twitter. Give us a follow on Apple iTunes, on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe. Leave a review. Leave some comments. Email us with anything that you'd like us to cover.
Feedback.
Yeah, or feedback. I mean, if you
podcast at Gmail.
Yeah, if you want to tell us that, like, we fucking suck and to shut the fuck up, I'm by all means, okay. But I would only cry a little bit into my pillow.
Just a little bit.
Just a little snivel. I'm so hurt. No, really, I probably would, though. But, no, so please be nice. I'm just a little nice. Just tell us that we only suck a little bit. But, yeah, and slip inside those DMs as always, baby.
Slide in.
Slide on in. So, I'm Nikki.
And I'm Karyssa.
And thanks for visiting New Strangeland.